If it's Monday night, say yeah. Or it's ridiculously raw. Hello, friends. It's your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Florio, here with you for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. The phenom Michael Bullock will be coming in late. He is out late. Therefore, we did not have our usual Raw chat tonight. But if we had, oh boy, we would have had a lot of fun with it, let me tell you. But in the meantime, I'm joined, of course, by my other panelists, as always. We have, of course, the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, the one and only Girl MF, Michael Fletcher. And we also have the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. Glad to have you both with us, and glad to have you with us as well for this night after SummerSlam edition of Monday Night Raw. Once again, live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. I'm telling you, my friends, Monday Night Raw is getting on a roll here. That's all I'm saying. I mean, with some of the action that we saw tonight, yes, there will be some cutouts as always. No surprise. We can't have a Ridiculously Raw without at least one cutout, but there will be a couple actually. But this is not a cutout. What we're going to start off with here first. We had the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, and his advocate, Paul Heyman. They cut a promo. I mean, Heyman cuts the promo about Brock Lesnar, coming off of that 5-star classic last night at SummerSlam, that Fatal 4-Way Universal Championship match, which, oh, by the way, I consider the greatest Universal Championship match in the one-year history of that championship. They stole the show at SummerSlam last night, and before you know it, Braun Strowman, raw, he shows up, and, well, they get in each other's face, and before you know it, Braun Strowman dominates Brock Lesnar again, just like he did at SummerSlam last night, when he power slammed him through both the Spanish announce table and the SmackDown Live announce table. Oh, my Lord. And wait, there's more. Oh, there's more. We don't have to wait for a big show. We don't have to wait for Survivor Series. We don't have to wait till the Royal Rumble. Heck, we don't even have to wait until WrestleMania. Because as I predicted on our recap show last night, I predicted we were going to get it at this event. And boy, howdy, we're getting it at this event. Mark the date down on your calendars, my friends. Sunday night, September the 24th, from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, the City of Angels, at the now Raw exclusive pay-per-view No Mercy, Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, will defend the WWE Universal Championship against, you guessed it, the monster among men, Raw, Braun Strowman. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I believe I had that one. Honestly, as much as I feel Lesnar and Strowman should be saved for a big-time pay-per-view, a major pay-per-view, a good case can be made for striking while the iron is hot with Strowman, which they are expected to do by going with this match at No Mercy. It will be interesting to see if they have something better in mind for WrestleMania 34, or if they still intend to go with the long-rumored Lesnar versus Roman Reigns bout. This is one of those rare times where I have to call co-segment of the night, because there was another segment on this show that I thought was just as amazing. And honestly, they were both so awesome, I cannot honestly put one over the other. But this is how you start off your first broadcast after your second biggest event of the year. Monday Night Raw, the night after SummerSlam. Brooklyn was red hot. The crowd was hot. We had an IWC night after WrestleMania-like crowd here tonight. Yes, indeed. And quite frankly, they were happy with what they saw, and you better believe I was happy with what I saw. No doubt about it. So, keyword segment of the night. Cannot put one over the other. You'll know when the other big segment coming up is. So, oh my goodness. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher. Come on in here, MF. I mean, it's one thing when you start the show off with these guys, but now, No Mercy, Lesnar versus Strowman for the Universal Championship. as our idol, the late great Gorilla Monsoon, and you would always say, in the city of angels. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? What do you think about that?
And in other words, that Gorilla Monsoon used to say a lot of back in the day, it's gonna be something else as well, and it will be Strowman Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship. All right, WWE Network, shut up and take my money. That's all I got to say about that. This was amazing. This was awesome. What a way to start it off. What a way for this to have an unbelievable way to start it off. But I got to give it up to my man, Paul Heyman. I mean, he said it just so you knew. And he even said it. He's like, he doesn't speak hyperbole when he does anything like it. He's like, you guys wanted it. You guys, you all had doubts about my man, Brock Lesnar, winning this fight, winning this match. And after all the hypocrisy, all the BS, all of the backstage politicking, and the whole 9 yards, after I felt like it was a total absolute travesty that you forced my man to put the title on the line against 3 other corporate stooges like Roman Reigns, like Samoa Joe, like Braun Strowman. My man, my client, Brock Lesnar, not only got taken out and was taken to the back on a stretcher, but he came back. He fought like a warrior, fought like a real champion is to fight in the ring as a gladiator and not lose the belt like in any other fatal 4-way or triple threat fights, TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was a shot at all your companies and a shot at the bow at that. Brock Lesnar proved once again that he is not only the greatest fighter in WWE or in the UFC, that no, he is the greatest action sports competitor in the world today. He proved it again at SummerSlam by successfully defending his Universal title. And with all the odds and all the circumstances, well, there's one guy who definitely begged to differ on everything else that happened to Brock last night. The only one that went pillar to post and actually left Lesnar in a heap. And that's a monster among men, Braun Strowman. And he did it again tonight. Laid Lesnar laid out in the center of the ring and not only took it to the beast, but he damn near conquered him again. And the next image, and probably the most biggest lasting image, is Braun Strowman in possession of the Universal title, showing it off to the whole world that I true Universal Champion. And let me tell you, in the eyes of the IWC and in many people's eyes that was at the Barclays last night, you may be the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, but the real champion is the monster among men, Braun Strowman. And I assure you, I will say it right here, right now, this bold statement by the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher Jr. tonight, 1st, 2017 at 11:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Braun Strowman is the next Universal Champion. Book it. Dee Woodson, I give it to you, my love.
Hey, I agree with you all, both of you, so I'm not going to say too much more because I may be yawning throughout whatever I say, so just take it as an agreement and move on.
Okay. Wow, Michael Fletcher, good old MF. I mean, how about it? I mean, he basically did what I did last night during SummerSlam when I said that we saw the greatest pre-show match of all time. And go figure, it was from his show, SmackDown Live. So I'll give them the credit for it. Okay. Our first in-ring match of the night, a Brooklyn street fight. Big Cass versus Enzo Amore. Winner of the match in 8 minutes and 45 seconds. It's Enzo Amore, but it was not as decisive as you'd think. It wasn't a fluky win either. We're not going to get into. I know you guys probably don't want to get into the match, and that's fine. You know, I know we're going to probably consider this a cutout of a match, but there is something that we do need to address. Big Cass got legitimately injured tonight, folks. He injured his knee, and as reported on Twitter by WrestlingNewsWorld.com, my man Richard Gray, first on it, tomorrow morning, Big Cass is going to undergo surgery. And from what I'm hearing, WWE officials are already fearing the worst.
It looks like an ACL injury. I'm going to call it right now. If you saw the replay, you saw the knee buckle, I'm fearing this could be an ACL injury. I think he might have tore his ACL. I think it's either that or he tore something in the knee because he went down. It looked bad. The spotlight on YouTube, on Facebook, somebody was at the arena tonight. They were filming it. They showed the replay of it, and let me tell you, it looked bad. I mean, the way I saw it, it looked bad. Even when he was trying to go for that elbow, he couldn't put any pressure on the leg. He dropped in a heap. You instantly knew, uh-oh, we got problems. The minute the X went up, they rang for the bell immediately. And I think at that point, we were like, uh-oh, something's definitely wrong. And just the way Cass was reacting, he was really upset. He was visibly upset in the ring. You know, you hate to see a fight end like that. You hate to see a superstar get injured like that. But I'm telling you right now, Kevin Dunn, Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon, they all are probably holding their collective breath right now. But from what, and Anthony, you alluded to it right now, the MRI and the surgery is going to happen. And I'm just eyeballing it because I don't know any information, because I'm not, like, I don't know as of yet until we hear more from Richard Gray or Dave Meltzer or Joe Cronin, who's all these guys who are really in the know of professional wrestling. Until we hear something from them, we can only speculate what it could be. But like I said, the way he fell and the way he went down, I think it's either a ligament tear, a kneecap issue, because he went down pretty hard, but it definitely was something with the right knee. It looked like it was a right knee, right leg injury. We're hoping for the best, but if it's what I think it is, which is an ACL, gone 9 months. I'm telling you that right now. He is gone 6 to 9 months, and if that's the case, the rocket ship that he was hoping for, that big push that he was supposed to get, It's gone, folks. And if that's the case, that's a devastating blow to Big Cass. And on top of that, what happens to Enzo Amore now? Because you got to think about that. Because Enzo and Big Cass had this rivalry going. What happens to Enzo now? Because you can't have one with the other. How much does this cripple Enzo? Even though I know he's got some nuclear backstage heat in the back, but still, this is bad for Enzo as well. This is actually a lose-lose here tonight. Not only do we lose Big Cass, but Enzo also may suffer a devastating hit because of this. Didi, listen, I give it to you, or if you want to pass it to Florio, go right ahead. But, yeah, this is clearly an NA, but there's two big losers here tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's devastating. I mean, I saw the fall, and I mean that you could tell the minute he hit the floor, that leg did not go like it should have went, and it looks like he might have blown it out. So yeah, it's devastating. No telling what they're going to do with Enzo. I mean, you could send him to SmackDown, have him fight Ellsworth, but other than that, I don't know what else you'd do with Enzo yet, until they figure out what's going on with Big Cass. So, not much more I have to say about it. Just really bad fall. So, Florio, it's yours.
Okay. No rating to a dud. That's obviously what the fight is. The match wasn't good before the injury, which is bad news for Cass. We're hopeful that the injury is not too bad, but like I just said, it is a legitimate injury. He is scheduled for an MRI tomorrow, and if it is an ACL, good night. I mean, he landed a bit awkwardly, but it may have simply been an easy way to extend the feud by giving Enzo a fluky win. So I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But it is a legitimate injury. It's not a work or anything like that. So it's really all there is to say on that. So we're just going to move on. MF and Didi, get comfortable for a little bit because we got a couple of cutouts that we have to address. First off, we had Nia Jax squaring off against Emma. Nia Jax wins the match in 1 minute and 10 seconds. Sorry, MF, your girl Emma gets squished, as I like to say with Michael Bullock. And
yeah, but if you really think about it, she kind of deserves to get squished because of all the comments that she made to my other love on Monday Night Raw, Dana Brooke, and yeah, she kind of didn't, deserve to get their butt kicked on that one. So yeah, sorry. Love you, Emma, but you kind of opened your mouth and inserted a foot on that one, love.
Yeah, she sure did, and she got squashed in 1 minute and 10 seconds. That's all there is to say. It was a squash, a squish, whatever you want to call it. So no need to get into that. Let's move on. Elias against R-Truth. Elias wins the match, 1 minute, 21 seconds. Again, I say squash. So both of those were absolute duds and co-worst fight of the night. They were both equally bad. I cannot put one over the other. They were both so bad. Okay. Now we're going to get into this. Oh, boy. General Manager, Kurt Angle. He comes out. He promises a big surprise. And what was that surprise? None other than the free agent franchise, one of the many crown jewels of SmackDown Live. He's on Monday Night Raw for the time being, the one and only 16-time WWE World Champion, none other than the champ himself, John Cena. John Cena is the big surprise. He comes out. He says, hey, I'm here to meet a certain superstar face to face. And just when he thought it couldn't get any worse for the IWC, the longtime public enemy of the IWC, that's one thing. But when you have the current public enemy of the IWC, Roman Reigns, show up, oh, you just pissed off a lot of you just made a lot of fans in the Barclays very angry, because the two most hated men in the IWC were standing face to face in the same ring until an interruption by The Miz and the Miztourage. And Miz cuts an unbelievable promo, ripping on both John Cena and Roman Reigns. But wait, there's more. Samoa Joe shows up and says, Axel and Dallas, you're not going to be Miz's partner. I am. And then it was announced that the main event of Monday Night Raw tonight would be Samoa Joe and The Miz squaring off against John Cena and Roman Reigns. Edie Woodson, whoa. What do we make of this?
This was definitely the other co-segment of the night. I mean, this was awesome. John Cena saying when Roman came out, you're exactly who I was looking for, and talking about the tweets that they've had, that makes, it pretty much nails that John's going to be on Raw for, at least for a while, because it looks like they're going to start something with him and Roman, just like we all thought a few months ago. But then Miz comes out and says, well, I've got John Cena's number. I know this, I know all this about him and everything. And that he puts on this poor, pitiful me segment here saying, I'm sick and tired of you two getting everything and me getting diddly squat, which we all know is not exactly true. And then Joe coming out telling Miz that his two flunkies are not going to be his partner that he is tonight. So that, that makes the match even more exciting, more memorable. But this segment definitely hit it out of the park, just like Heyman and Lesnar did. So with Strowman. So yeah, not much more I had to say about it. Just a really good segment. So basically, if you're DVRing this, watch the first segment, skip everything else, and get to this segment, because they're the two best segments of the night for this show. So, Florio, it's yours.
Oh my. Yes, you're right about that, Edie Woodson. This was the other segment of the night. Whoa, my goodness. It was not because of John Cena and Roman Reigns by any means. If you want my honest opinion about this segment, The Miz was the star of this segment. That's the most fired up promo I've seen from Miz since he used to go on those memorable rants and meltdowns back on the old Talking Smack. I mean, Brian, wow. My moment. Where's my moment? Yeah, that was epic. I mean, as great as everybody was during this segment, and they were, honestly, it was The Miz. The Miz stole the show in this segment. I mean, I could not believe that he absolutely pulled that sucker out. I mean, epic. And the crowd as well made that even better than that was. I mean, wow. I mean, and then you have Joe coming in and Joe basically going on one of his screaming promos as well. I mean, we know how much of a great screamer he is. We all know how intense he gets, and wow. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, just unreal. And that crowd absolutely, positively ate that segment up. I mean, they were going after Cena. They were going after Reigns. The two most hated men in the IWC right now, in the same ring at the same time, and it was a sight. It was a sight to see, and another reason why Monday Night Raw has slowly but surely been getting better right now. I mean, they had a red hot night last night at SummerSlam, and they followed it up with some great moments so far on this show. I mean, yeah, there were cutouts. I understand that, but a good segment as they laid the early groundwork for Cena versus Reigns and Cena versus Joe, as well as the main event. And like I said, Joe and Miz were great in their talking roles, and they really shined here. And we'll let you know in a little while what we thought about that main event with John Cena and Roman Reigns teaming up, tag team partners against the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, The Miz, and the Samoan Submission Machine, Samoa Joe. And man alive, I mean, Cena was put in a tough spot in that this was framed as a surprise return, yet Cena was advertised for the show. Granted, there were some fans who cheered when he came out, but I'm sure plenty of fans were hoping for someone else in addition to Cena. And I know a lot of fans were saying, hopefully they've got another surprise in mind. No. And The Miz was the most over guy in the ring because of the way he was taking jabs at Cena and Reigns. It was an entertaining segment, but I must say that I thought the buzz for the tease of Cena versus Reigns would have been bigger than it was in that building tonight. So, co-segment of the night, MF, I mean, what do you make of that? John Cena, Roman Reigns, the two most hated men in the IWC, in the same ring at the same time.
I mean, it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty awesome to see that happen. I think I'm with the majority of the fan base. I'm a little disappointed. Well, no. Who am I kidding? I'm thrilled that it was only just John Cena, because that means that SmackDown Live might have just gotten a lot of talent that might be coming our way tomorrow night. And if you notice, nobody from NXT was on the show tonight. Nobody from NXT. And we know for a fact that there was call-ups being made. Does that mean SmackDown Live got them all? The lion's share of it? Or could we be holding off for another time? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we did get the lion's share. And when I mean the lion's share and the rumors of the team of the people that are supposed to be heading to SmackDown Live, dude, I hope we got them. I hope we got Glorious. I hope we got two of the most beautiful women on NXT. I hope we got two bona fide tag team monsters on our crew. Now, there was one for 205 Live. I'm not gonna mention his name. And the final guy that could be heading to the main roster that I heard rumor going around, is a brother that I know really well. Someone from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. And to steal a line from Corey Graves, who is this guy and why does he keep getting denied everywhere? What is his problem? Now, I don't mind if we got that guy. I don't mind if we get this great Japanese amazing dude that could be 205 Live bound. But if we get the monsters of the tag team division, the two most beautiful women coming out of NXT, and a former NXT world champion who's straight up glorious, Monday Night Raw, just throw in the white towel right now. Because the game will change forever. You'll be smacking your TV every Tuesday night because the land of opportunity will be rising again. Better than ever, stronger than ever. And that's also another thing. Dee Whitson just brought up about a certain gold standard that also could be heading to the land of opportunity. Now, he was originally supposed to be SmackDown Live bound, but got hurt. And that's why he had to hold back. But if that's the case, I'm going to be happier than ever, than anything in this world. Sure, take John Cena. Take the Golden Boy from us. I don't mind. He's good. He's great. But let me tell you, man, one man's loss, if we get all that plunder coming our way, are you kidding me, man? I would be happier than anything in this world if that happens. Yes, 1,000 times yes is what I would say. Now, back to Raw and back to that segment that Anthony was alluding to. There's nothing bad. Miz had, without a doubt, the best promo of the night. And as far as I go, probably the best promo since he's re-debuted on Monday Night Raw. What you saw tonight was the Miz of SmackDown Live. And he brought it to the table. And go figure, of all people to trigger him off and set him ablaze, it had to be John Cena himself. Had to be Cena. Anybody else, he doesn't do diddly squat. When it comes to Cena, he gets so much venom and fires that missile so hard, it's not even funny. It's amazing what he does. Samoa Joe, he's just a straight up monster. Who's going to stop him? Roman Reigns and Cena, okay, you plant the seeds for the first battle. Not bad. I like it. I thought it was pretty bad. And I mean bad in a good way. So, no, I think it was excellent. And for them to set up the main event of the evening, it was expected. It was definitely something that I would have enjoyed. So, no. Monday Night Raw, you guys nailed it. Good shot, good home run hit. Nothing bad to say. Dee, what's in it? Yours.
I think Dee let off on that.
Yes, I did.
All right, my bad. I'm sorry. I kind of got a little caught up in the moment there.
No problem.
Prisoner of the moment, huh? That's all there is to say on that.
Yeah, I'll admit it. It was a prisoner of the moment because I'm thinking ahead now of SmackDown Live, and that rich talent that I was talking about possibly could be wearing the blue T-shirt tomorrow night. So obviously, you got to think that I'm a little bit optimistic now.
Never hurts to be optimistic, MF. But you said Raw throw in the towel. I only have one word to say to that. Never! That's all I'm going to say on that. We're not throwing in the towel anytime soon. It doesn't matter who you get, if you get anybody tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens come tomorrow night on SmackDown Live. So, and we'll talk all about it on Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will, set the table for that at the end of our show tonight. So, Raw throwing the towel? Never. Never. Simple as that. So, but let's get back into the business at hand here. How about this? 8-man tag team action in the Cruiserweight division. On one side, you have Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, and I think. Oh, okay, all right. It was Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, and Grand Metalik squaring off against Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Noam Dar, and Arya Daivari. When all is said and done, The face team picks up the win. The Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, Grand Metalik, they get the win. In between 7 minutes and 25 seconds to 8 minutes and 10 seconds, it was Cedric Alexander hitting the lumbar check on Tony Nese to pick up the win for his team. 2.5 stars. Perfectly fine match, but also, I hate to say it, another missed opportunity by WWE. This is when you give the show a change of pace and allow the really exciting guys like Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, and Grand Metalik work a fast-paced match with no restrictions and just let them cut loose and it's some spectacular stuff. But, and there was also a beach ball moment during the commercial break. And they noted it, and the security managed to take it, and there was a "You suck" chant directed at security. Fans calmed down by the end of the match, and there were a lot of fans counting along with the 3 count. Some of the high spots from babyfaces seemed to draw the fans into the match. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. So MF, if you want to get into it, you can, or if you don't want to get into it, whatever. So
2.25 stars. I'll give you the rating for that. It was what we expected it to be. I wish it was a little more better, I think is the best way to talk about it. But no, solid fight, good match. Like you said, they underutilized again the cruiserweight division, and that's a damn shame. I wish this match could have been a lot more better. I wish this match could have been a lot more stronger, where I thought in certain areas it was. But I kind of felt like they left a lot to be desired. And for me as a fan, we were hoping for something better, and we didn't really get all that much. Obviously, Didi Woodson still has her "We Hate Cruiserweight" picket sign going. Basically,
I don't hate it. I just don't think it belongs on Raw, and I don't think that they are, like you said, utilizing them properly. So, about the only time the cruiserweights are relevant is on pay-per-views. So, that's all I have to say about it.
That's what they all say. Anyway, so Florio, back to you.
Well, the cruiserweights may not be relevant on Monday Night Raw. I get that and whatnot, but you might want to tune in. You might want to tune in tomorrow night on 205 Live because, of course, as we all know, last night at SummerSlam, Adrian Neville, much to the delight of MF, regained his Cruiserweight Championship and is once again the king of the cruiserweights. He is going to be defending the title tomorrow night on 205 Live. Akira Tozawa has invoked his rematch clause, and we're going to get it tomorrow night on 205 Live on the WWE Network. Neville and Tozawa one more time. How about that? About damn time. You need to make that show relevant. I'm going to get more into that when I do my 205 Live review later, and it's not going to be a positive one. I'll say that right now. Now let's move on to something really fun here. First, this is a 2-for-1 deal. We haven't had one of these in a while. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, your brand new Raw Tag Team Champions. They come into the ring and, they basically gloat about their victory from last night, talking about Sheamus and Cesaro and the whole 9 yards. And they get interrupted by, of all teams, yes, the Broken Hardys, Matt and Jeff, and they challenge them to a match, and guess what? We got it. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose versus the Hardys, non-title match. Winners of the match in 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. MF tag team match, tag team dream match. Oh my Lord in heaven, did this deliver?
This is where Raw turned it around in an instant. Other than the 2 segments, I'm sorry, Florio, going into it, this was at least a 3 to 4 out of 10 in my eyes. This is when everything turned around for the better. And this was a tremendous tag team fight. 3.5 stars is my rating for this fight because this was awesome. I was thrilled. I was into it. Everything about this match was great. The crowd was saying this is awesome. I agree with them 1,000%. There was a lot of good match, a lot of good action The fight was really choreographed it really well, and everybody definitely worked their hearts out on this one. You could tell, especially at the end of this fight, all four men were exhausted. They really like pushed it to the limit tonight. Matt Hardy was looking great. Jeff Hardy was looking great. Dean Ambrose was looking like he was motivated tonight, which was very rare because a lot of times a lot of people get on Ambrose about his work ethic, his work commitment. Does he really, when does he really show up for moments like this? And he showed up tonight. And Seth Rollins, man, he burned it down tonight, man. He was amazing in the ring. So no, this was an absolute thrilling match. 3.5 stars. And I'm gonna say it, other than maybe one other fight tonight, this, my friends, could easily be a fight of the night in my eyes. I could easily call this fight of the night. And you know what? The hell with that. I'll pull the trigger. This is my fight of the night. Because I wasn't really too enthralled about the main event. Sorry, Florio. I disagree. But this is my fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Didi, what's in this yours, love?
Yeah, I'm going to say fight of the night as well. I'm giving it 3 3/4 star. The segment was awesome. The match was awesome. You got to get a very good taste of the Broken Hardys through the segment, and they just tore it to pieces when it came out there. I mean, taking a page from JR, this was definitely a slobber knocker. So yeah, very good match. Not much more I have to say about it. I think Fletch touched most of it. So Florio, what's yours?
If we're gonna steal quotes from JR, I'm gonna take another one here. All four of these guys, they're quick as hiccups. That's all there is to say about that. And even though you could say at times Dean Ambrose can be goofy as a pet coon, but I had another one in me. Oh, go figure. Anywho, this was for me. MF's probably thinking I thought the main event was the fight of the night. No, I agree with you, MF. This was the fight of the night. 3 1/4 to 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a tremendous tag team matchup here. I mean, what a great treat for the fans in Brooklyn to see 2 over tag teams going at it. And hey, I'll say it like this. I was all for making the match, and I'm all for surprises. But I kind of also feel that they should have at least given it a 1 week build to add to its importance and maybe even help the ratings. But anywho, this match was great overall as they fought through the middle point where they lost the crowd for a bit. They stayed to the plan, got them back, and Rollins and Ambrose pick up a big win to keep their momentum as champions after last night's big win. I'm not sure what the Hardys are going to do now with the Revival out. Right now, they're just another tag team right now, and it's odd to hear how much attention WWE brings to the Hardys wrestling for 25 years. It makes them feel older than they are. I mean, after all, Jeff is still in his 30s, at least for another week or so. Rollins mentioning that they grew up idolizing the Hardys almost sounded condescending at first, even though that was not the intention. The point is that the Hardys are still very relevant, and the company would be wise to position them as such rather than making them seem like old men. All that said, the match was entertaining, and the crowd was into it despite not choosing sides. So, no question about this. This was the fight of the night. 3 1/4 to 3.5 stars. No doubt about it. And then we had another in-ring segment. We had the Raw Women's Champion, the new Raw Women's Champion, Sasha Banks, interrupted by the former champion, Alexa Bliss. And Sasha, was talking about how she said, hey, I may be from Boston, but the last 3 years she left her heart in Brooklyn. 2 years ago, the 5-star classic with Bayley, and then last year that tough loss to Charlotte last year, and then tonight, and then last night, of course, at SummerSlam. This year, getting her long overdue moment in Brooklyn, winning the championship from Alexa Bliss, and then Banks says, hey, I'll take a rematch tonight. But Bliss says no, and because these Brooklyn fanboys don't deserve to see a title celebration. But I'll take it next week, and you'll be a legit loser. So with that being said, next week on Monday Night Raw from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, we will have our return match from SummerSlam. It will be Sasha Banks defending the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. Didi Woodson, our resident women's wrestling expert. Let's get you on in here. Talking segment, I know, but I think it did more than enough to deliver some substantial hype for next week.
Oh, yeah, it was a good match, and they definitely set it up for next week so we could have that build that you were talking about in the last match. You know, I'm not super big on Bliss either because of the title they've given her, but you know, she did very good in this promo, bringing up that Banks has the horrible track record in defending the championship, but at the same time, you know, they got the fans behind them in this and put it all, you know, in the heads of the fans, you know, about Banks' latest reign, maybe a 1 week wonder and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was a very good promo, very, very strong for both women, very, very good storyline building for Raw with the women here, and so, you know, looking forward to seeing exactly what they do next week as we have the rematch between the two ladies. So not much more I have to say about it. So somebody take it.
I'll take it. This was good. They set up a match for next week to give it a week's build. I also love that Bliss brought up that Banks has a horrible track record in defending the championship. It's real. It's there to use, and puts it in the fans' heads that Banks' latest reign may be yet again another 1 week wonder. They tried to have Boston native Sasha win over the crowd to the point that she delivered the get well wishes to Ric Flair. Of course, we continue to do that as well. I was surprised that Bliss didn't get a bigger reaction when she came out, but I love the way she healed on the fans by depriving them of the match that will take place next week instead. So, second best segment of the night for me. And hey, Michael Bullock has just arrived. He has joined us. But before we get to Bullock, I wanted to get MF's thoughts on this, and then we'll catch Bullock up. So, MF, let's get your thoughts on this segment with Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss and the upcoming return match next week in Memphis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, let's talk about Sasha's promo. Then we'll get into Alexa. And I really think this was very, very, very interesting and very telling because of the fact that she actually went there and open fired and actually probably listened to Didi Woodson a little bit. And, you know, how, and she even said that, you know, everybody, Alexa, you claim to be this glorified goddess, but you ain't no goddess because you're no longer the champion. And now the champion is the legit boss. So she took a swipe at IWC and every fanboy that's been basically kissing the ground that Alexa Bliss has been walking on. And basically the ones that has been doing the hola saliva type business. So Alexa comes out and is like, you know what? Fine. You know, you got lucky. You always get lucky. You always find that acorn in the sand, or you know, you're like a squirrel that finds a nut. Once in a rare while, you find a golden one. But look at how many times you've been Raw Women's Champion. How long do you keep those belt reigns? A week? A couple of weeks? A month? Best? And what makes you think it's going to be different? And then she rips on Brooklyn, saying, "You know what? You don't deserve me or deserve another title shot here tonight. So I'm gonna give you a fight 1 week from now at Memphis, Tennessee, FedEx Forum. Congratulations, guys! You just hit the lottery on this one." So at the end of the day, that's what's going down. It's going to be a good fight, interesting matchup. Again, I don't know how this is going to play out. I kind of have this feeling that Sasha's going to win it because I want to see if and when Bayley comes back, are we going to see Sasha versus Bayley? Because that's the one that everybody's been waiting for. Are we going to get it? Remains to be seen. This was definitely a solid segment, no doubt about it. All right, Bullock. I know you got a lot to recap, so Anthony, I guess you're gonna set the table for him.
I certainly will.
All right, it's yours.
All right, Phenom, Michael Bullock, come on in. Welcome to Ridiculously Raw, as always. We're glad to have you with us, even though you're late coming in, as always, but that's okay. I want to get your thoughts, first of all, Bullock. I was kind of hoping we would have had our Raw chat tonight because we would have had a lot of fun with the opening segment. Brock Lesnar, Universal Champion with Paul Heyman, interrupted by our man, the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman basically has his way with Brock Lesnar again. And wait, if you thought that wasn't great enough, guess what? We're getting it. No Mercy. September 24th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, the City of Angels. Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, one-on-one for the Universal Championship. And MF even went on the record, Bullock, and said Braun Strowman is going to win the title. What do you think of that?
And you know what? I actually 100% agree. Well, first I'm going to talk about this. I mean, this was a really good segment. I mean, of course, Paul Heyman, of course, his money on the mic as always, and basically survived the fatal 4-way last night, and then of course, Braun Strowman comes out, and then Strowman basically starts to beat up on Brock Lesnar and hits one power slam, and then he hits another one, and then picks up the Universal title and stands over him with it. And now we get this match at No Mercy. And you want to know what? I agree 100% with Michael Fletcher. I am going to go. You don't need to wait till No Mercy preview show to do this. I'm calling it right now. Braun Strowman is going to become your new Universal Champion. And I say he's going to dominate just Brock Lesnar like he did to him at SummerSlam. And when he wins the Universal title, Florio, we are going to let out the biggest roar ever in the history of the wrestling forum.
You damn right.
And I may break the sound barrier with it, but you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm going to break the sound barrier with this roar. So yeah, this was a very good segment, and all I can say is I cannot wait for No Mercy. So nothing else to say. Let's move on to the next part of the show, Florio.
Now, we're not going to talk about the match here. Big Cass against Enzo Amore in a Brooklyn street fight. Enzo Amore actually wins the match in 8 minutes and 45 seconds, but we're not talking about the match. But what I do want to get a quick thought from you, Bullet. Big Cass suffered a legitimate knee injury. They're saying it might be a torn ACL. He's going to have an MRI tomorrow. And if it is a torn ACL, like Michael Fletcher thinks, he could be out for at least 9 to 10 months, maybe even more. So, and officials are already fearing the worst.
Man, I mean, you can't help but feel bad for Big Cass. I mean, you think he was finally going to get a big-time push and maybe a future shot at a Universal title? Well, unfortunately, it's going down the drain, and I feel bad for him. I mean, he's worked hard, and all of a sudden this happens, and yeah, an ACL injury. It's a pretty serious injury, and like you said, 9 to 10 months. maybe even longer than that, depending on how severe the ACL injury is. And yeah, I mean, all I can say is thoughts are with you, Big Cass, and we hope we see it somewhere down the line. And when it comes to this injury, I mean, if it's 9 to 10 months, I mean, he could be back as early as I'm trying to think when it comes to. Well, we'll talk about it eventually, maybe after the show. So, yeah, so hopefully you get soon, Big Cass.
Yes, indeed. And if it's 9 months or more, he's out of WrestleMania 34. So
yeah. Yeah, well, at least he got to be part of this year's WrestleMania.
Yes, he did.
But if he had thoughts of any a chance of possibly main eventing next year's WrestleMania, well,
nope,
that ain't gonna happen.
I don't think it was gonna happen, even if he was healthy. So, then we had a couple of cutouts. Nia Jax, she, like we always like to do during our Raw chats, well, like
squish.
Yep, she squished Emma in 1 minute and 5 seconds, and Elias Sampson over R-Truth in 1.5 minutes. We're not going to waste your time on that. But what we do want to get into, Kurt Angle, the general manager, he had a big surprise. And who was that big surprise? The free agent, John Cena. He showed up and then he was interrupted by Roman Reigns, interrupted by The Miz, interrupted by Samoa Joe. And then it set up a huge tag team main event with John Cena and Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe and The Miz. How about The Miz during that segment, boy?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Florio, I mean, what do you think about John Cena being on your show?
Like Dusty Rhodes said at the Starrcade 97 after Sting won the World Heavyweight Championship from Hulk Hogan, I'm going to say like he said it. The crown jewel is on Monday Night Raw, baby.
Boy, you must be happy about getting the crown jewel on Monday Night Raw.
Giddy, Bullock, I'm downright giddy.
I don't blame you. And man, that confrontation with him and Roman Reigns, I mean, that was something to see. And then basically, The Miz, I mean, he basically went on a tirade. And all I could say is, damn, Miz, tell us how you really feel. I mean, he did this on SmackDown Live, and now he's doing this on Raw. It's almost like he wants to be the main star of Monday Night Raw. Like, he basically says nobody gives a damn about John Cena or even Roman Reigns right now, and he's sick and tired of all this crap. And he says, "Oh, John Cena and Roman Reigns, they get to be on the SummerSlam card, while me, I got bumped to the pre-show, and that pisses me off." And yeah, and then Samoa Joe comes out and says, "You know what? I'll be your partner." And then he says, "You know what?" He basically continues saying, "You know what? I'm sick and tired of hearing Reigns talk about his yard, because one-on-one I own him." And then basically Samoa Joe goes after John Cena, and then they fight. Cena and Reigns basically fight off The Miz and the Miztourage, and then Cena and Reigns stare each other down and the crowd was basically on both of them saying, "You both suck." And yeah, so and Florio, I get the strange feeling at No Mercy. I mean, tell me how you feel about this. John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. Yep.
No,
I'm getting that thought too.
Well, forget about a thought about it. I think it's going to happen.
I think so too.
Yeah, so this was a damn good segment, and I'll call it the segment of the night. But I'll tell you who the real MVP of that segment was. It was The Miz.
Amen.
I mean, it seems like when he goes on these tirades, it's definitely a segment of the night, to say the very least. So, I mean, we saw him do this on SmackDown Live. Now he's doing this on Raw.
Yep. Indeed, he is.
Man, I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more to say on it.
And then we had an eight-man tag team cruiserweight match. Grand Metalik, Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, and Rich Swann against Drew Gulak, Arya Daivari, Noam Dar, and Tony Nese. It was the babyface team who won the match in between 7 minutes and 25 seconds to 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Cedric Alexander with the lumbar check on Tony Nese for the win. Your thoughts on that eight-man cruiserweight match, Bullet?
I thought it was a really good match. I mean, I'm going to give it about 2.5 stars. I mean, the action was good for what it was and the amount of time it got. So, yeah, so a nice win for the face team. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just going to move on.
And then we had a rare 2-for-1 segment. We've hardly had any of these in a while, the 2-for-1 segment. We had the new Raw Tag Team Champions, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, in the ring, interrupted by, the Broken Hardys.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there will be no green beans tonight because it led to a non-title match, Rollins and Ambrose against the Hardys. And Rollins and Ambrose win the match again. They get the win at 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Holy wowzers, what a match.
Oh, yeah, this was definitely a really good match. I'm going to say this was the fight of the night as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
I'm going to give it about 3.5 stars as my rating. I mean, this was a damn good match. And, I mean, you knew Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were going to hold on to the titles because there was no way they were going to have them lose the titles the night after winning it, of course, at Slam. So, man, I mean, this was a match I certainly enjoyed. I mean, I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on.
And we move on to the next segment here. We had the new Raw Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. She cut the promo. I already ran down the details of that promo, Bullet. She was interrupted by Alexa Bliss. They had a back and forth. Sasha wanted to have the match tonight, but Alexa said no. But next week, at the FedEx Forum in Memphis, on Monday Night Raw, Sasha Banks will defend her Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. She's invoked the rematch clause. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this was the second best segment of the night as far as I'm concerned. Sasha Banks, I liked how she tried to, basically, try to get the crowd into it. Of course, saying, you know what, I may be from Boston, but I left my heart in Brooklyn the last 3 years, of course, with that NXT takeover against Bayley. And then, of course, last year's SummerSlam against Charlotte. And basically, of course, she didn't wish her and her father, her father well. And that was a nice little touch to it. And of course, she finally got the win in Brooklyn, of course. And she will be the champion the right way. And then Alexa Bliss says, and basically says, you know what, that title is mine. And the idea of Banks defending the title is amusing because she loses it every time she tries to defend it. Well, that's the truth. And then Banks tells Bliss, you know what, why don't you use your rematch clause right here and right now? Bliss says, I don't think so. And none of these so-called Brooklyn fans deserve to see her win the titles. But next week, I'm taking it back. So, yeah, I love this segment, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next week and see if that what Alexa Bliss said it rings true. So, a real good segment, good work by both women. So, let's move on, Florio.
And I believe you're all caught up, Michael Bullock, because now we're going to move on now to our next matchup here. How about this interesting matchup? Jason Jordan squaring off against Finn Balor. Whoa, okay. Jason Jordan versus Finn Balor. And the winner of the match in between 11 minutes and 40 seconds to 11 minutes and 43 seconds, it was, of course, Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the match with, as it's called, the coup de grace, or as our friend Luigi PS3 calls it, a coup de grace, which, always gets us going whenever we hear that. So, okay, I'm trying to think on this. Oh yeah, Bullock actually starts that off because MF led off on the last thing we got into before we called Bullock up. So
So it works out perfect.
yeah, absolutely.
I
So,
let off on the last one.
Oh, Didi led off on the last one. So that means I start this one off.
Oh, all right. So you lead off on it, Florio.
Yes, I lead off on that. Yeah, Didi started it off. Okay. Yep, that is correct. Okay. I'm gonna give this 2.5 stars for my rating. The work was perfectly solid, and Jordan was given a lot against Balor, but they just couldn't keep the crowd's interest. I mean, there's no shame in losing to Balor, but adding in the kickoff show loss last night and general lack of interest from the live crowds, Jordan's push is starting to feel DOA at this point. And there was an insider noting that there were actually multiple beach balls in play during the match. The fans also chanted, "We want Gable," and for AJ Styles during the mid-match commercial break. The fans missed a solid match, but it's hard to blame them for not getting up for another babyface encounter with zero storyline build, aside from the creatively flat Jordan wanting to test himself. So that's all I can say there. 2.5 stars is my rating for this match. So MF, Jason Jordan, Finn Balor, first time meeting. Finn Balor wins it with the coup de grace or coup de grace. Your thoughts on that?
Or Cobra Kai, whatever the use may be. 2.5 stars. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too much more into this. So, Mike Bullock, it's all yours, my friend.
Yeah, I'll give it 2.5 stars as well. I mean, I thought it was a good match. I mean, certainly, certainly a nice win for Finn Balor. I mean, obviously, I thought Jason Jordan looked good even in defeat. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Didi Whitson, I give it to you.
I agree. 2.5 stars. Not much more to say about it.
And now it's main event time here on Ridiculously Raw. Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion The Miz and the Samoan Submission Machine Samoa Joe against Roman Reigns and John Cena. The winners of the match in 13 minutes and 4 seconds to 13 minutes and even 13 minutes to 13 minutes and 4 seconds. It's John Cena and Roman Reigns. John Cena with the AA on The Miz for the win. MF, your thoughts on the main event?
Good main event, no doubt about it. I really thought that it could have been a lot more better. But you definitely saw them planting the seeds a little bit when Roman Reigns accidentally hits John Cena with the Superman punch. Accidental, big mistake. It almost cost them the fight, but it didn't. Miz looked like he was going to try to go for the skull-crushing finale. And Super Cena rolls the roost again, hits him with an AA. 1, 2, 3, and the Intercontinental Champion gets buried here tonight on Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna give this about 3 stars is my rating for the main event. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3-star. I'll give it 3 stars for the effort. I mean, definitely a good match, and I do agree it could have been better. And yeah, I mean, you could see during the match that it was basically leading towards. Things are building towards a Cena versus Reigns feud, and at No Mercy, which I believe is going to happen. We just gotta wait and see when it will be official. And yes, John Cena hits the AA on the Miz, and the Miz gets buried again. Well, Miz, that's what happens when you run your mouth and go on a pissy tirade. You get buried with a golden shovel, and the more you run your mouth, the deeper that you're gonna get buried. So, 3 stars, Didi Woodson. I give it to you.
I agree. 3 stars. Not the best main event, but it was okay for what it was worth. So not much more I have to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
2 3/4 to 3 stars. Pretty good overall, with the guys playing well off of the rowdy crowd and their beach ball antics, and even using it to allow Joe and Miz to take control on Cena. I hate that Miz once again played jobber here. I still think, and have since the move, that taking him off SmackDown Live was a bad move. Because he was flourished. He was doing very well on SmackDown Live. And he's starting to get a little bit lost in the shuffle on Monday Night Raw. I hate to say it, but I mean, the fans were the story of the match.
And he makes that Intercontinental title look like a freaking joke.
Well, I wouldn't go that far yet, Bullet. Let's just give it a chance right now. Fans were the story of the match, and while I'm not advocating beach ball silliness by any means, I will say that I understood it more during this show than I did when they broke one out during the entertaining tag title match at SummerSlam last night. Fair or unfair, this crowd had their hopes up for NXT call-ups, The Undertaker, and a big return based on Angle's tease. And so, I mean, I'll have more on that in just a minute. But nonetheless, though, I would probably say maybe the second best fight of the night, if I'm being honest. So 2 3/4 to 3 stars. That's the best I can go. So, and now it's time for our overall thoughts on this Monday Night Raw. And Michael Bullock, let's start off with you here. Your overall thoughts on this first Raw after SummerSlam.
All right. Yeah. I mean, as far as this edition of Raw, I mean, I'm gonna give it about maybe a 7 out of 10, if I'm gonna be quite honest here. I mean, the crowd. I mean, was literally red hot. You had some good matches, but the only downside of it was Nia Jax and Emma and Elias and R-Truth. Those matches were terrible. All the other matches that were on the card tonight were well. But then again, you could also put Enzo and Cass as a match that I could care. No, you know what? I'm actually gonna downgrade it a little. I'm gonna give it the same rating that I gave SummerSlam last night. A 6.5 to 7 out of 10 is my rating. So nothing else to say. Didi Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 6.5 as well. A lot of slowness through Raw, a lot of not so spectacular matches, especially there at the beginning. I mean, the only things that at the beginning of the show that was any good at all was the segments. So really, until you got to probably the last hour and a half, I mean, all you really had was segments that had anything relevant. It just, you get to the end there and it picks up a little bit, but still, I mean, storyline progression has gotten better for Raw. I will give them that much, but as far as everything else, I wouldn't say this is the greatest Raw in the world. It's just there. And the writers still have a lot of work to do and in picking it up so that we don't have these ho-hum fights or these no rating crap that we had with the ladies tonight and Elias and R-Truth. You know, I don't know if Big Cass and Enzo would have ended up being a better match if he hadn't got injured, but it is what it is. He got injured, and they had to just call the match. So yeah, that we're wishing the best for Big Cass, just like we are for Ric Flair, and not much more I had to say about it. So I will see you guys tomorrow night for SmackDown. Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, Didi Woodson. We'll see you tomorrow night for that, for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF Channel Race Fan 95, as always. And I'm going to give this between 7 to 7.5 out of 10 for me. I mean, like I said, fair or unfair, the crowd had their hopes up for NXT call-ups, The Undertaker, and a big return based on Kurt Angle's deeds. Instead, they got the previously advertised John Cena, which would have been cool on its own, but I can't blame the fans for feeling a bit let down by the angle Cena was going to be there. Fans have high expectations for the night after WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And, the fans entertain themselves. And it's easy to blame the fact that this is the third consecutive night in the same venue. But I don't think there would have been as many issues if WWE had filled the time better than they did. But let me get my other thoughts here. It was a solid post-pay-per-view effort that set the wheels in motion on the road to No Mercy. I appreciated that they set up Braun and Brock for No Mercy. Their segment was amazing, and I cannot wait for their one-on-one Be a Man fight. Neville versus Tozawa for tomorrow's 205 Live, and Banks and Bliss for next week. Some undercard acts got wins. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are off to a good start as tag team champions, and they also laid the groundwork for 2 potential bouts for John Cena: Cena versus Roman Reigns, or John Cena versus Samoa Joe. So, fight of the night obviously was Ambrose and Rollins against the Hardys, no doubt about it. Main event was the second best fight, and those were really the only 2 matches that really stood out. But those segments, though, were really good, especially the Lesnar and Strowman segment, and that segment with where the Miz stole the show. So 7.5, that's about right. So MF, let's get your thoughts on this post SummerSlam edition of Monday Night Raw tonight.
6 out of 10. Like I said, it started off really good with the 2 non-wrestling segments. It turned around a little bit once you got the tag team fight. I even say the Jason Jordan versus Finn Balor and the main event were actually pretty good. Yeah, you can make an argument that the Cruiserweight fight was decent, but other than that, there was really nothing else redeeming about this Monday Night Raw. I mean, I think they kind of try to stretch it out as long as they could. It just didn't really. It was good, but it wasn't really that great. I think it could have been a lot better. Plus, like I said, they really left a lot of gaping holes. A lot of people were hoping for some NXT call-ups. They did not get it, which is a little disappointing. Well, it's disappointing for Raw, but it makes SmackDown very interesting because do they get the lion's share? Like I said, do they get the major talent that's supposed to be heading? If they don't get it, then there's going to be a lot of questions coming out of WWE, and what's that going to be like? So we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. So Anthony, time for your Tony's take.
Yeah, batting down the hatches, folks. This is not going to be a good Tony's take here, I'm afraid, because we had 205 Live, and we also have Impact Wrestling, of course, coming off of Destination X, and we'll get into that. But 205 Live, I'll say it right now, to MF and Bullet, it's a good thing you guys left after SmackDown Live and didn't stick around for 205 Live. I mean, you would have asked for your money back. That's how bad this show was. But there was some good out of it. Don't get me wrong. And this was one of the goods. Tag team match: Cedric Alexander and Grand Metalik against Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. Cedric Alexander and Grand Metalik get the win. Cedric Alexander with a lumbar check on Drew Gulak. This, to me, was the fight of the night. 3 stars. 7 minutes and 45 seconds with the time. Good action-paced opening match, playing off of Nese's previous encounters with Alexander and Metalik. So, good job. Then we had D. Brian Kendrick squaring off against Mustafa Ali. D. Brian Kendrick wins the match, 5 minutes and 7 seconds. 1 3/4 stars. It started off with promise, but lost energy and started to drag badly when Kendrick took control. I'm digging the more serious Gallagher, giving no craps and taping up his fists to mess people up. So that's pretty good. And then we had Rich Swann against Arya Davari. Arya Davari wins the match, 5 minutes, 17 seconds. Another 1 3/4 stars. Much like the last bout, it started fine and fell off during the bland heat segment by Davari. Adding the flat finish, and this was not good. I get where they were going in terms of TJP and Swann's feud, but things have dramatically dropped off after the opening bout. And then we had the championship celebration for Akira Tozawa, with Titus O'Neil interrupted by Neville. I liked it. And I felt like it was a good way to close the show and hype the SummerSlam bout, even if the rematch on the pay-per-view isn't needed. So that's it to say on that. So my overall rating on this, 5 1/4 out of 10. It came off like a crap sandwich to me. I liked the opening match and the closing segment, but the middle was just no good. Disappointing effort this past week. And MF and Bullet, like I said, it's a good thing you guys left the dunk when you guys did and you didn't stick around for 205 Live, because, I mean, you guys would have been thoroughly disgusted with how bad that show was. So, smart move, guys. That was a smart move, and I'm not even being sarcastic. That was actually a good move on your part. All right. And, of course, tomorrow night on 205 Live, we got ourselves a Cruiserweight Championship match when Adrian Neville defends his newly won title against Akira Tozawa. Oh, boy. That's all I can say on that. So, hopefully it delivers. We'll find out soon enough if it does. And we'll take it from there. So, okay. We got Impact Wrestling now. And this past week, it was the highly anticipated Destination X show. And I got to be honest, going into this, I was really looking forward to this show. I really, really was. Yeah, about that. Let's start it off. We started it off with a match, which was great. The Knockouts Championship on the line. Champion Sienna, accompanied by KM. Why? For what reason? I have no clue. Trifle unnecessary in my book. Defending the title against one of MF's all-time personal favorites, Gail Kim. Winner of the match in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. And still, the Knockouts champion, it is Sienna. She had a little help, though. And guess who's back in TNA? Or GFW? Another one of MF's personal favorites, even though I kind of had a thing for her myself. The blonde bombshell, Taryn Terrell, the hot mess. She is back in GFW. And I swear to God, I could hear a loud grrr from MF's place here in my domain. But anyways, I can only give it 2 1/4 stars for the effort. I mean, they were working their way to a good match, and then the KM distraction and interference happened and killed the momentum for me. It's cool and wonderful that Taryn is back and makes sense. And if she's motivated like she was in some of her last run, she'll be a positive addition to the Knockouts roster. But no matter what you call the company, they always fall back on old tricks, and the interference finish is at the top of the list. So 2 1/4 stars. Sorry. Excuse me. And then from there, we have Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard, aka Brother Love, for some of you younger fans who may not know who he is. He came out with the GFW World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, if you didn't see our show last week, I broke the news that Alberto El Patron had been stripped of the title because of his ongoing issues, with Paige and all that. Bruce Pritchard was about to actually give the title back to the former champion Bobby Lashley, who lost the title to El Patron at Slammiversary. But he got interrupted, not by Bobby Lashley, but we had another big surprise. James E. Cornette. Yes, James E. Cornette, Jim Cornette. He's back in TNA, and he's the boss. First thing he did, he fires Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard's gone. James E. Cornette made that happen. And then he makes a huge match for next week's Impact Wrestling. We are going to have a 20-man gauntlet battle royal. And the winner of that 20-man gauntlet battle royal will be the new Global Force Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. Whoa, okay. I would be happy about Pritchard being gone, but we all know that he's going to be back, and we'll probably end up with another power struggle angle. Cornette is leaps and bounds a better on-screen character compared to Pritchard. But the last thing this company needed was another authority figure / talking head. And I'm smelling the latest reboot in the making. Then we move on to the finals of the Super X Cup tournament. Desmond Xavier versus Ishimori. Winner of the match in 8 minutes and 56 seconds. And the winner of the Super X Cup, Desmond Xavier. 2 3/4 star match. Pretty good match, but it really lacked excitement and drama as well as that balls to the wall action you'd expect from the finals of an X Division tournament. Xavier winning was the right call, as you know how high I am on this young man. I really am. But the match felt somewhat disappointing, if I'm going to be real honest. So, but it is my co-fight of the night, and I got to pop up here. Just give me a minute. Yeah, trifle unnecessary on that. All right. It's my co-fight of the night. There was another match that I thought was just as good. So 2 3/4 stars for that. And then from there we had the ladder match for the X Division Championship. Sonjay Dutt defending against Trevor Lee. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 3 seconds. And still the X Division champion, Sonjay Dutt. I'm sorry, 2.5 stars. It felt rather lackadaisical, didn't have any real drama or notable high spots, making the ladder match stipulation rather useless. The run-ins added nothing, and considering we saw a run-in finish in the earlier title match, it didn't mean nearly as much. The match layout and booking did not help anyone here. Good old Jeff and Dutch just can't help themselves. Petey Williams being back is cool. I love Petey Williams. I mean, ask him after, he'll tell you how much I love Petey Williams, especially the sickest finishing move in professional wrestling history, the Canadian Destroyer. But there are so many other new and fresh guys out there they could have brought in, so but that's awesome. So, and then we have OVE, Jake and Dave Crist against Jason Cade and Zachary Wentz. OVE wins the match, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. No reigning to a dud. This was the worst fight of the night. Well, they got the win. I didn't feel it was an impressive performance or debut for OVE. And then the main event of the evening, the winner gets a title shot of his choosing. Bobby Lashley against Matt Sydal. Winner of the match in 14 minutes and 52 seconds. Matt Sydal gets the victory. And I know that makes MF a very happy man because everybody knows MF has been very high on Matt Sydal, not just when he was in Wrestling Society X, but also when he was Evan Airborne in the WWE. But he got the biggest win of his TNA GFW career right here at MF, and I know that makes you a very happy man. This is my other fight of the night, 2 3/4 stars. They had the right layout with Lashley dominating and playing the cocky, overconfident heel, who eventually fell to the never say die smaller babyface. But they simply didn't work as well together as I had hoped, with 2 really bad botch spots and an anticlimactic ending with Sydal winning with a roll-up. So yeah. So that's all I can say there. As far as the show is concerned, even with the surprises, I can only give this between 5.5 and 6 out of 10. I was really excited for this Destination X show. On paper, the card was great, and even with losing the GFW title match, which was supposed to be El Patron against Low Key, I felt that they had enough to deliver an entertaining show and to maybe even turn the page and get some momentum. You always hear companies like GFW talking about wanting to change the game. But unfortunately, no matter the name, whether it's NWA, TNA, Impact Wrestling, GFW, every reboot is the same. They revert to interference in title matches, old names returning, and some sort of authority figure power struggle angle. I like Jim Cornette much better as an on-air character than Pritchard, but we know Pritchard will be back. Taryn Terrell and Petey Williams returning could be fun, but I felt that having them return in such similar ways led to diminishing returns, and I also felt that the matches greatly underdelivered, mostly average, especially the X Division matches. The show had a ton of potential, but I honestly felt it failed to deliver and felt like the usual poorly planned reboot-style episode we get from the company. Not the best first step on the road to Bound for Glory. You have to do better when there's so much product out there to choose from. So, 5.5 to a 6. The only reason why I'm rounding it up to a 6 was because of the surprise factors, with the surprise returns of Jim Cornette, Taryn Terrell, and Petey Williams. So that's basically all I can say about that. So, and what a letdown that was. I had such high hopes for that show, and they sandbag us. Ugh. What else is new? Okay. Now we're going to get into what we're going to see on the next edition of Impact Wrestling, which will be this week, this Thursday night, 8 o'clock, Pop Television. And it opens the show with a promo. Taryn Terrell. She's going to cut a promo, a heel promo on Gail Kim. And then we had OVE against the Heat Seekers. There's a segment with Grado and Laurel Van Ness, and wait till you see how that all goes down. And then from there, we had the Gauntlet for the Gold, the 20-man Gauntlet Battle Royale. And let me just say, I know who the new champion is, and I honestly cannot believe what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm not upset about it. I'm actually delighted about it. I honestly did not think they were going to have the balls to push this guy to the title, but after everything he's been through, he damn sure deserves it. And I, for one, could not be happy. And if you're not happy about that, let's just say, if you're not happy about this guy becoming the new heavyweight champion of the world in GFW, then I only have 2 words for you. Dummy, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. And if that's not the hit, then I don't know what is. So, all right. That puts an end to this edition of Ridiculously Raw for tonight. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we're going to start off with our shout-outs. So, MF or Bullock, whoever wants to start it off, it's all yours, my friends.
All right, I'll start it off. Of course, shout-outs to all of our great fans out there who support our shows. Of course, shout-outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you are. So yeah, I mean, that's going to pretty much do it for me. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, where, of course, we'll recap the SmackDown Live portion of SummerSlam. This is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. Enjoy your Tuesday. So, Fletch, I give it to you.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as amazing as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. To the super fans, you guys know who you guys are. To my friends in the junior high and high school days, you guys know who you guys are. 2184 crew, love you guys to death. Cerebral Smack Talk, like Michael Bullock said, we're going to have is the recap and the fallout from SummerSlam on the SmackDown end. And as of now, there is no Mikey's Mindset. I don't have any other news coming up. We're just going to be focusing on SmackDown, and it's upward and onward to whatever the future may be for SmackDown Live. So 10 o'clock Eastern. Please note the start time. It's 10 o'clock this time around, not 10:30 on BraceFan95, YouTube.com. Until then, Mike Fletcher, you know the routine, hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. Anthony, take it home.
Yes, we'll do MF. And you heard it. Immediately following SmackDown Live tomorrow night, we will have the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll get into that in a moment. Of course, a special shout out to all of our tremendous fans out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout out to Dee Whitson, Kevin Whitson, and the entire Whitson family. Matt Ward, Jason Hickson-Baugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other First Ladies, Tyler Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, and of course, our other crew members. Tommy Souza, and of course, Eric Carrier, who just celebrated a birthday this past week. So, very special happy birthday to our good friend, Eric Carrier. Of course, we also have Jimmy Alden, who's going to be joining us later this week. I'll get more into that in just a minute. Jimmy Alden, along with Al Braderson and Rob Parsons, and of course, last but certainly not least, the man who puts it all together. Falcon Striker 445, the hardcore pipe bomb himself, Jared Ferreira. And we'll save the rest of our shout outs for Friday night. And we'll get into that in a minute. Of course, coming up tomorrow night at 10, immediately following SmackDown Live over on MF channel, BraceFan95, we're going to have the Cerebral Smack Talk. And we're going to run down the SmackDown side of the SummerSlam Fallout. The only thing that I know is they're obviously going to address the United States Heavyweight Championship, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. You saw the finish from SummerSlam, and that's the only thing they hyped. They did not hype anything. They did not hype anything else. So we'll see what else happens on SmackDown Live. No Mikey's Mindset. I'm kind of surprised to hear that, but okay. And then Friday night, 10:30. Get ready. A very special edition of Strictly Sports, as we, along with our good friend Jimmy Alden has said he's going to join us for this. We are going to preview the mega fight that is coming up this weekend. Oh my goodness, already. Wow. Floyd Money Mayweather, Conor McGregor, they're going to get it on this Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And we're going to break down every nook and cranny of that fight. I'm probably not going to have much to say about it. I'm just going to be the host. I'm just going to be the moderator. I'm just going to set everything up. MF will be here. Jimmy Alden will be here. We'll see if Michael Bullock comes in on this, and we'll go from there. So
I'll have some thoughts on the match.
Oh, okay, great. All right, we'll have Michael Bullock here then. Okay, great. And whoever else wants to join us, you're more than welcome to join us for those of you watching out there. So we'll take all the opinions.
Normally I don't talk about boxing matches, but this is one I'm definitely going to make an exception to.
All right, wonderful, Bullock. I'm glad to hear that. That's great. So we'll get the whole band's thoughts on this on Friday night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25, the very special edition of Strictly Sports, and then of course next week we'll be right back here for another edition of Ridiculously Raw, and we'll talk about Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, and in my Tony's Take, I'll give you my thoughts on Neville and Tozawa's Cruiserweight rematch on 205 Live. And, of course, Impact Wrestling with the brand, with that huge gauntlet for the gold, 20-man battle royale with a very surprising outcome. And I couldn't be any more delighted for this, guys, like I said. So, all right. So, with that being said, that's it. So, until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Florio, here. For Girl MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angle Dee Woodson, and the Hardcore Python Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Photo Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF channel, BraceFan95. You've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.